rig that is for Blender that is included with the alpha, so anybody can use that. We also have some export scripts for exporting data into the engine, which you can install, although I had David install them for me because I'm not an expert at using Blender yet. It's not that hard to get your own character into the engine. Basically, the process involves loading the skeleton, changing it to fit your character, and then auto-rigging the character to the mesh that you've made so that you can put it in the game engine. Expect a full tutorial about this sometime in the future. You can see that Blender's auto-rigging results are not perfect on this character, but it's not so bad for just a few minutes of work. I worked on a couple of other things this week that weren't directly related to Overgrowth. For example, this picture here that I'm going to turn into a long format drawing tutorial video sometime in the near future, so keep an eye open for that. I also did a little bit of art for the blog, which you may have seen. Next week I'm planning to work more on monolith art assets. These ones are inspired by a natural formation called the Giant's Causeway. That's it for this week's art asset overview. If you're interested in pre-ordering the game, you can get it at wolfire.com/preorder. Thanks.
So that was the art asset overview for Alpha 116. So what do you guys think about the Rabot 2.0?
Very cool.
I like him. I think he's cool. The only thing I miss is that no, I can't remember what I was going to say. Sorry. That Rabot #1 was completely procedural, and I wish that Rabot version 2 could be that way also, but I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah,
so
since they've completely changed systems from the fully procedural to the semi-procedural, I don't think that's possible. But I really like him as well. He's just so very awesome. I like how he made the, I don't know, cloth thingies to like between the metal parts there are like some kind of stuff that looks like a cloth.
Yep.
And it just looks really awesome. I hope he's going to go into the final game as a playable character. That would be very awesome. Some people suggested he should be unlockable or stuff like that. I guess we'll see about that, but I just want him in the game because he's super duper awesome.
I like the idea of having like robots built with traditional materials, but not like stupidly, if that makes sense.
Can you
Like you don't build, like, obviously the arms have to have like motors in them and like pneumatics and stuff like that for them to move, but like you can like fucking put like a bit of like cloth around a part of a robot and add that to the design. And I don't know, there's a robot in the game Mortal Kombat called Yoshimitsu, and he wears well, in one of the games he wore a straw hat, and I thought that was very cool for like a robot to use such a traditional material.
Oh yeah, that's a good point, I suppose. I also like the idea of mixing, you know, normal stuff with the robots. It makes them more awesome, if that's even possible. I don't know. So, yeah, was there anything else interesting in that video? I don't know, I just freaked out about the Rabbit 2.0.
He decided to design like the next monoliths on the hexagonal columns found at Devil's Causeway. Did he say it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Giant's Causeway though.
Or Giants? I don't know. It's in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, just off of Scotland or something like that, right? Or
But it looks like man-made, but it's not. It's like made from like volcanic, like rock or something.
So that's a natural formation that actually looks like that?
yes. Actually, Aubrey and I were talking about that, and it's a whole. There's actually a bunch of these types of formations around the world with different extremes of these weird, very strict shaped objects that grow naturally in columns like that. It's really kind of cool. I should try and remember what they're called.
Yeah, it's basically the same idea as they have with the Crete, right? It's the Crete is like some kind of crystal almost, or whatever they're saying.
Yeah,
What's this
exactly.
crate?
Hmm?
What is that? I've never heard of it.
Crete is the material, those long bars that you see that look like they're made of concrete almost.
Alright.
That he has in the concept art, and also those blocks you see in the game, those basic gray blocks that you can use to build in the engine, those are also Crete, but just in another shape, I suppose.
So, what are they actually going to be in the game, or?
Yeah. They're like a thing of the Overgrowth universe, I think.
And the monoliths are the same things or different?
Oh, that's right. I think the monoliths are made out of Crete, if I am not mistaken, but don't quote me on that.
Maybe it's a type of monolith?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'm not I'm not going to say much more about it. I know there are monoliths. I know there's Crete. The monoliths might be made out of Crete. I don't know.
Alright.
I think that's still sort of undefined at this point. But
Yeah, I think they're still making stuff up.
Yeah.
yeah, I just posted a link in the chat for on Wikipedia the type of rock is called basalt, I guess, and there's actually some amazing pictures on Wikipedia, very large pictures if people go in and look, showing these different columns and things like that. So definitely cool to check out.
Yeah, I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, of course there are crystals. Crystals are kind of, regular in their shapes, kind of, but not as regular as those things.
I think what it is, it's a type of volcanic rock, and based on how it cools, creates that formation. So it's some combination of those. That the molecular structure with the way that it cools.
I don't think they're all hexagons either. I think some of them are like squares and other like things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So we should probably move on to the next part, which is actually the interview with Anton. So, yeah, why don't you introduce yourself? Say who are you, what have you done for Overgrowth, and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm Anton Real, and I've been helping out with the music for the game so far. So the main thing that people have heard is I've added all of the flute performances to the main theme and to all of the ambient tracks. Yeah, so working with Miko to create the sound of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Miko?
Miko Tarmia is the main composer. Yes, so he also is the composer who wrote for the Penumbra and Amnesia games. So
He's a famous dude then. Did he get paid?
we haven't ever talked about payment between the two of us, so I have no idea. But he actually has been working on the music for Overgrowth for years, for really a long time. Back before Overgrowth, when it was still Lugaru 2, he was writing a lot of the music that you hear now. And and you've actually, if you go back and really look at the old versions of the songs, they've really come a long way in the years he's been working on it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, the music has really evolved over the time. That's for sure. And with your addition, it just got even better.
I think one of the big issues I had when I first heard the music was it lacked a certain richness, like a live element. And so when I sort of volunteered to play, to help out, I said, one thing I could do is add live flute to the already existing tracks, and they really changed the feel of the tracks, I think. So, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, as I said, it adds a lot. And you also made the piano version of you have made a bunch of variations on the Mexican, by the way, haven't you?
Kind of everything has sort of come from random chats in IRC for the most part. I did a guitar version about a year ago, and then the piano version last week, which was, it was Miko's piano version that he wrote the same time that I released the guitar version, and then I just did a new performance of it this couple weeks ago or something. And someone in the chat wants a tuba version, and I'm a tuba player, so I'm guessing that they know that that's the case. So
yeah, you should totally make a tuba version. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, and there's still there's still a lot of
make it like the sad music,
Oh,
when some character dies, that music comes up, and it's like how the song goes.
Right. So, and actually, our conversations a year ago started this idea of doing a volunteer orchestra with volunteers from the community, and this past week we finally sent out parts to the people that are going to play in a little medley. It's going to be like an 8-minute medley of music, and so they now have about a month to record their parts. So in about a month we'll start putting together this volunteer orchestra piece and see what happens.
Cool.
Kind of cool.
So you have all the instruments you need for that now? Because I know a while ago you were asking for more people to join, since there were a couple of instruments that you were lacking.
Well, it wasn't so much that we were lacking them; it's that we had, we tried to write the arrangement to fit the group that we had. So we did that as much as possible, tried to include as many people as we could. We did have certain instruments where we just had too many people. We had too many guitars, we had too many pianos. But then we wrote these parts, and we had a few celli, a few basses, a few French horns, but we realized that it wasn't going to be enough. So when Jeff asked me if they could do a blog post about the piano arrangement I did a couple weeks ago, I said, oh yeah, it'd be great since we're about to send out parts if we could just mention that we could use a few more of these extra things just to kind of fill out the sound a little more.
Yeah. It's always good to have a bit of variety, I suppose, to make a rich sound.
Well, also, for string sections in particular, if you don't have enough strings, it really has a different sound. It stops sounding like a section and starts sounding more like a quartet. And the music for Overgrowth has a lot of epic moments, so without epic numbers of strings, it sounds kind of weak.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you have done a lot of stuff for Overgrowth, as we know, the flute stuff, as you've been talking about. What have you done before that? Did you go to like music school, and what have you done before Overgrowth?
Sure. I did go to music school. I have a degree in music composition, and then I've been working in film and television stuff for several years, and recently wanted to start getting into writing music for video games. So Overgrowth was technically the first video game that I started working on, but around